Hello, I'm Mariana Barrientos, and this is my reflection video for this week's assignment. So, a summary of my findings is that I thought I had a pretty good understanding of all the different kinds of instructional strategies there were, but there are so many more that I had not thought of or that I just didn't know the name of, like concept obtainment or inquiry. And so the ones that most resonated with me are the ones that have an interactive component to it. So cooperative learning and concept attainment, because going back from my experience as a child, those are the ones that helped me learn the most. I loved working in groups, and I remember the teacher putting up examples and non-examples up on the board, and every time a teacher would do this, the class was able to shout out like, yes, that's an example, or no, that's not it. And so those were the most fun and the ones that most resonated with me growing up. Learning theories, I think, are very important for instructional strategies because you can pair up different instructional strategies with different learning theories. And so what I mean by this is, for example, the cognitive theory believes that students are able to process information on a deeper level to form outcomes. And so that would go very well with the instructional strategy of inquiry, because inquiry forces students to think deeper about a question posed by the teacher or ask their own questions about a subject and go deeper into thought about that. Another example is that the constructivistic theory, Vygotsky believed that social interaction is how students learned. And so, of course, cooperative learning instructional strategy would work really well with that because it's making kids learn from each other and work together to form a new understanding of the lesson. Having knowledge of all theories, no matter what content you are trying to teach, is important because it gives teachers more choices, more reasonings for why they're picking instructional strategies. In this class, we already talked about different factors that influence choosing instructional strategies, but also having an understanding of the theories will make it easier for teachers to say, okay, I think this is the approach I want to do. I want a behaviorist approach. I want a humanistic approach. And so now I get to pair up those instructional strategies that work well with those theories. And ideally, I would like to use a bit of every strategy in my future professional practice, but for student achievement, direct instruction, I think, would work really well because the teacher is explaining in real time, they're giving instant feedback, and that is something that students really need to grasp a concept sometimes. Critical thinking, I've already talked about this, but inquiry is great. Also, as teachers, of course, you have to teach everything that from the curriculum, from the standards, but inquiry also helps you gain knowledge of what your students want to learn, and so that can make the lesson more interesting for them and more easy to understand for them, plus being able to have those higher levels of thinking skills. And finally, engagement and motivation. Obviously, I'm being biased here, but cooperative learning, because especially if you also pair that up with the behaviorist theory and you offer an incentive for the winning group at the end of the task, then that could spark engagement and motivation. And obviously, I just really like interactive components and instructional strategies. So thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.